Unsolved mysteries are the lifeblood of Listverse. We eat, sleep and drink them. This list presents a selection of 10 of the weirdest from various parts of the world. But don't expect the Bermuda Triangle or the Mary Celeste. These are mysteries you have most likely never heard of. From an entire village that vanished to a spooky disembodied hand, no stone is left unturned in the search for the bizarre, astonishing and creepy. I'm Jamie Frater, the founder of Listverse.com, and these are 10 bizarre unsolved mysteries from around the world. Number 10. The Portal to Another Universe. Not content with just a few people disappearing, Lake Anjakuni decided to take things to the next level and disappeared an entire village. It all happened in November 1930 when a trapper named Joe LaBelle was looking for shelter for the night. He made his way to an Inuit village he knew and found an eerie scene. Everyone was gone. Everything else, including food and rifles, had been left behind. LaBelle contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and an investigation began. In the village burial ground, it was discovered that at least one grave had been emptied and clearly not by animals. About 300 feet from the village, the bodies of 7 dogs were found starved to death despite open stores of food nearby. Strange lights were also seen above the lake around the time of the disappearance. So what really happened? There have been all sorts of explanations for the cause of the disappearance, including aliens, ghosts, and even vampires. The police disregard the story as an urban legend, but with so many versions of it floating around from so many years ago, it's hard to say for sure. Number 9. The Mysterious Sleeping Village. The residents of the Kalachi village in Kazakhstan have a problem. They literally can't stay awake. Every day, several villagers fall asleep in broad daylight and stay that way for hours, and in some cases, even days. There's no reason for these sleep incidents, and more than 100 locals have been affected. Some of the sleepers have reported strange feelings of memory loss, vertigo, and extreme nausea after waking. Doctors have found that some of the people suffering from this creepy sickness have suffered other health scares such as brain dysfunction and even strokes. Radiation levels have been tested in the area, but nothing abnormal has been found. Ongoing investigations have yet to turn up any clear answers, though in 2015, scientists found high amounts of carbon monoxide in the town, providing at least one clue as to the cause. Number 8. The Girl Who Was Sacrificed. In 1972, a dog discovered a decomposing arm on a cliff top in Springfield, New Jersey. After a brief search, police found the rest of the body. It was Jeanette De Palma, a teenager who'd been missing for 6 weeks. Her body was surrounded by strange objects that had been carefully placed. Rumours began to fly that the girl had been sacrificed by a coven of witches or that Satanists had murdered her for their dark rituals. But the strangest thing about the murder was that no one would talk about it. Even leads in the case didn't come in the traditional manner. People sent in anonymous letters only. One unnamed writer wrote that he knew about a group of witches in the area who were planning to murder a child, and another letter said that animals were being killed and strung up in the trees. All of the letters blamed witches or Satanists. Jeanette's murderer was never found. Number 7. The Village of the Dwarves. Scientists are extremely interested in the villages of Yangtze in the Sichuan province of China. The reason? Not only are there only 80 people in the village, but half of them are dwarves. According to the inhabitants, a mysterious illness hit the village more than 60 years ago. The disease caused children between 5 and 7 to simply stop growing. The odds of stunted growth are around 1 in 20,000, which makes a logical cause seem impossible. This is all on top of the historical sightings of hundreds of dwarves in the area by outsiders. It appears that the children of those afflicted also stop growing at around 3 feet tall. The Chinese government doesn't allow visitors to the village, opening up the story to a host of urban legends, as if the truth weren't legend enough. To this day, no explanations have been offered. However, it seems that the residents may finally be growing out of the disease. The latest generation appears to have been spared. Number 6. The Woman Who Rinsed with Acid. In the early 1800s, Jo Ghirardelli was the hot new act on the fire-eating block. She was able to swallow red-hot objects and to rinse her mouth with nitric acid without burning holes in her gums and cheeks. To prove that she really had the acid in her mouth, she would spit it onto iron, where it would immediately start eating through the metal. Each time Ghirardelli performed, her act got bigger and bolder. She heated metal objects such as shovels over open fires and then pressed them against her skin. She even touched her tongue against some of them. In all of these acts, her flesh remained just as it was before, completely unharmed. She remained a hot topic all over England, and no one was able to figure out just how she did what she did. Number 5. The mysterious Apemen of Bukit, Timah. During World War II, Japanese soldiers stationed in Singapore saw a strange creature like Bigfoot. Many reported seeing an ape man covered in grey hair and standing up to 6 feet 6 inches tall in the Bukit Timah rainforest. Sightings peaked during the war, but there have also been recent ones. The Bukit Timah area is now a nature reserve that was once home to several exotic creatures, including Singapore's now vanished tigers. What the soldiers saw is still a mystery. Some people believe they might have confused macaque monkeys for primates. But according to most experts, this would be unlikely because the macaques in Singapore look just like the ones in Japan, and the soldiers would have known what they were looking at. The most recent sightings were in 2007, when one creature was spotted digging around in trash cans and another was seen being run over by a taxi. I kid you not. Number 4. The ancient Egyptian priestess from England. After a near-death experience as a child, Dorothy Eady became fascinated with ancient Egypt. Flipping through a book belonging to her parents, she found a photo of the temple of Seti I at Abydos. She rushed to her father and announced that this place was her home. As an adult, she changed her name to Seti and moved to Cairo, where she developed a habit of going into a trance and scribbling down hieroglyphics. She eventually wrote around 70 pages, mostly talking about her past life in ancient Egypt.
My heart, my mother, my heart, my mother, my heart, whereby I came into being. Do not stand up and witness against me at the judgment. I think that's the text. It should be.
You got it.
She said that she was a priestess at the temple and had a child by the pharaoh. This, of course, was seen as crazy until the day that Dorothy led archaeologists to a previously unknown secret tunnel in the temple. She also revealed the location of the long-lost garden of Seti I. Dorothy lived out her remaining days in the shadows of the temple and died in 1981. No explanation has been found for how she came to know what she did of the temple's ancient past. Number 3. The handprint burned in glass. Francis Levy was a dedicated fireman in the 1920s. On April 18, 1924, his workmates noticed a change in his personality. While he was usually the life of the party, that day he refused to look at or talk to anyone. He simply focused on washing the large plate glass window at the Chicago Fire Department where he worked. Suddenly he stopped, looked up, and apparently in a trance, announced that he was going to die that day. At that very moment, the alarm went off, breaking his spell and summoning all the firemen to a nearby building that was ablaze. The firefighters were soon on the scene, helping those trapped on the top floor. A sudden explosion caused the walls to come crashing down, pinning many, including Levy, under the rubble. His grim premonition came true. He lost his life that day trying to save others. Back at the station, the surviving firemen were shocked when they spotted something on the window. It was a handprint burned into the glass. It remained there for 20 years until the window was accidentally broken by a paperboy with an overly strong throwing arm. What mysterious force could have caused this eerie handprint to appear? Number 2. The most haunted forest in the world. Transylvania is not just home to Dracula. It's also where you can find Hoia Baciu, the most haunted forest in the world. It's the setting for many unexplained, spooky tales, and it probably doesn't help that the trees are bent and twisted in unnatural ways, giving the place a horror movie feel. Visitors to Hoia Baciu have returned from their trip terrified, claiming that horrific burns and rashes have appeared on their bodies for no reason. Some even claim to have lost time during their walk in the creepy trees. There is no explanation for why they can't remember what happened during those missing hours. Many people have seen ghostly apparitions in the forest, and locals refuse to step foot in it since rumours of floating heads and disembodied voices in the darkness started making the rounds. The hauntings all seem to have started in 1968 when Alexandru Sift took a photo in the forest of what many believe was a UFO. Could Hoia Baciu be home to the lost crew of an alien spaceship, or is it haunted by a dark entity? Number 1. The Man in the Creepy Gasmask. Something creepy is taking place in the woods in western Switzerland. A man dressed in a military uniform with a gas mask over his face seems to be haunting the place. The last time a gas mask creeped us out this much was when we first heard of the real-life horror show that is Miyake-jima, the hella creepy Japanese island that is so dangerous everyone has to wear a gas mask all the time. For more than 10 years now, locals who live near the Swiss woods have reported seeing the man walk the same path every day. They have given him the name Le Loyon, and they are terrified of him. He doesn't speak, and when he encounters someone, he just stares at them and walks away in silence. People have seen him carrying a bouquet of flowers while slowly walking down a pathway in a macabre type of mock wedding procession. And on another, even creepier occasion, his clothes were found abandoned in the woods with a note saying he was leaving because the risk of a hunt for the beast was too great. Who is the beast that he is talking about? Is it himself, or is it someone else? Give us your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching our video. If you haven't already, click subscribe so you don't miss out on our future offerings. We publish one new video every week. Please leave us a comment to let us know how we're doing. Your feedback is important, and it helps us to know which direction to take when it comes to selecting content for future videos. I'd like to give a huge personal thanks to those of you who have followed us since our beginnings 12 years ago on Listverse.com, and a big welcome to those of you just discovering us now on YouTube.